Many of our ideas about God come from ancient Greek philosophers like Aristotle and Plato. They used rationality and logic to determine what philosophical qualities God must have. So they describe God as omnipotent, all-powerful, or omniscient, as all-knowing. God is described by them as eternal and changeless. God is described as having the principle, the characteristic of aseity, which means that God doesn't depend on God's existence on any other being. In the New Testament and the Hebrew Scriptures, we give it a much richer picture of God. They fill out the idea of God using many different metaphors. In the Old Testament, God is described as the Prince of Peace. God is described as the King of all nations. God is described as the ultimate judge, as eternal, as almighty. And in the New Testament, there are many more pictures too. Jesus even describes God as a kind of mother hen gathering her chicks into herself. Now, we have many philosophical pictures of God, many poetic pictures of God. And during Holy Week, we begin to see that there are ways in which we act which can bring those to mind, bring those to life. And so Holy Week is a way of ritually observing the last week of Jesus' life. So we do that through Maundy, Thursday, when Jesus shared his last meal with his friends. And after the meal was done, Jesus took off his clothes and wrapped himself in a towel and then washed his disciples' feet as a symbol of humility. And the word mandatum means commandment or rule. And it comes from what Jesus says. He says, I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. And that is the new rule that Jesus gives us on Maundy, Thursday. On Good Friday, we hear the story of Jesus' death and crucifixion, how his friends betrayed him, how the leaders of the people said that it would be better for one person to suffer than for everybody to suffer, that being the rationality for having him being crucified and killed. And then on Easter, we read the story about how Jesus appears in mysterious and unsettling ways to the people he loved most. Now, one of the most interesting things to me is that it's not just about seeing any person who comes back to life. The disciples were experiencing seeing somebody who came back to them, somebody who they'd harmed and put in danger through their own actions. And so Jesus' acts when he returns to his disciples of forgiveness and reconciliation are a central part of that Easter story. Now, we've been through a lot together. There have been really hard times that we've all faced. And it feels a little bit like darkness is going to be around us forever. And yet, there is this sign of life. There is this reminder that God longs to join us together, that gather us together like little chicks. God longs for us to be reconciled both to God and to one another. And there is a sign of peace in Jesus' love for the world. My name is Malcolm Clemens Young. I'm the Dean of Grace Cathedral in San Francisco, California. Thanks for watching More Good News.